Tommy, Tommy,
internet
sorry. Can I be honest with you? Are you pissed? How are
you? All good.
Look at you, T-Bowe, in the gear, man. Looking sharp.
In the gear. Lions Trust. This is the Lions Trust, the charity side of the Lions. And my name is Doddy. Top's kind of cool, isn't it? With Doddy wears cap number 670 as well, yeah.
670. Wow, it's a beautiful bit of kit. So that's what. Can people get that?
Yeah, you can buy these, I think, online ahead of the tour or whatever. It goes to charity. It goes to My Name is Doddy charity and to the Lions Trust, whatever else as well. So
you better
I will be taking it off very soon, though, because I am sweltering. It's way too hot.
Can we put the disclaimer at that the top mightn't look as well on you as it does on the beautiful T-Bowe. Here, I just seen Doddy's number is 670. Your Lions number, what is it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't actually know. I don't know what it is.
You're a nightmare. I know your number. I've your number, Tommy Bowe. I've got your number.
My number. Hold on, we put it up online yesterday, so let me tell you. 752.
752, good number.
I actually have like a little thing with the number and stuff on it. 752. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, 725. Can I ask you? Because this came up for me the other week. Have you done anything with your caps?
No. They're at home in my mum and dad's bathroom.
I saw that. You did a documentary, and are they still there?
They're still there, yeah. But like my mum and dad, like my first cap, Irish cap is there. My under-20s cap is there. My Ulster cap is there, and the Lions cap.
Wow.
And mum and dad say that people always come over to the house for dinner party. Whatever, people come to visit, and they head upstairs to go to the toilet, and then they come down and they're wearing the hat. So not in my house. The kids would have robbed them otherwise.
Do you know what? It's a very good place to put them. I brought mine there to get them framed or do something with them, and we're like in the middle of kind of planning it out. And then what I don't want it to do is to look like a clubhouse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's in the jacks, it can't. Sure, it can't.
Well, the one thing I would say, and this would be a bit worried, wouldn't put it into a room that the shower or the bath gets used a lot. Because I'd say the condensation isn't. This is one thing I've had to say to the folks. I said, don't be wrecking my caps. Like, imagine they get all mouldy in there or something.
Jeez,
so
yeah.
I don't actually know if there's anybody if that would actually affect it. But that's where they are.
Do you know what? Look, I know this is a bit of a flex and a bit of a boast, but then I was looking at some of them. So I was lucky enough to get 50 for playing in Europe and 100 for playing in Europe. But then I was there. Is there any value on those caps anymore? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, with the numbers that the people are racking up nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? If I put them in with my Irish cap and my Lions cap, like in time you're looking at that kind of going, like there's fellas in 2 weeks going to rack up that, or 2 seasons.
I know. For people who are watching this now, actually have a cap. Hold on, just above me here.
Oh yes, T-Bowe. Hold on, this made it out of the jacks.
Look at this. So this is my only one I have in the house.
Oh,
this is, I think, Rugby World Cup 2015, England, or wherever it is there.
You go. Oh, you look after that one, Tommy. It's pristine. So, there's about 6 litres of dust on it, man. Look how messy it is. I genuinely think it'd be better off in your parents' jacks.
It actually is filthy, isn't it?
It's filthy. Whoa.
Desperate.
You see, that's this time of the year. The old dust is everywhere.
Yeah. Anyway, how are you? Are you all good?
I'm good. I was buzzing watching the Lions being announced. We're recording just after it, and
we are.
Do you know what? It brings back memories too of, like, without being overly vain, but just you'd be really proud of yourself in ways, wouldn't you? You're there like, fuck it, I did that, man.
It was amazing, wasn't it? Just looking back, like, well, I want to get into even the build up to it and everything else as well. There's an Ulster announcement today as well, which I'm sure you're in the running for as well. It wasn't for the Lions, but Joe Duffy is set to leave RT after 37 years, the national broadcaster. You are joking me. There you have it, breaking news as well. Oh my goodness. What a legend of Irish broadcasting. Donncha, you could be back in. You could be back in there yet. Yeah, Tommy, I know you're hopping the ball here, but this is actually groundbreaking in terms of, I don't think people know the importance of Joe Duffy for Irish people to vent. I actually think if Joe isn't there, we're rioting. You know what I mean?
So rather than actually take to the streets, we ring him and he sorts out all our problems. Whoa.
He puts everyone against each other.
Yeah.
But I clicked on to look at any more upsets on the Lions tour, or who missed out, whatever else, and that has come up. So there you
Good
go.
on him.
Bit of a legend.
Can I tell you
for
something about
people
him?
who aren't from Ireland? Joe Duffy is a bit of a national treasure, I suppose people would say here.
Beyond a national treasure. And do you know what? I got a massive appreciation for do you know what? You know why the best are the best? Because they work the hardest. They're talented, no doubt, but they work the hardest. And I remember going into another industry and thinking, people would look at, I'm just going to name a few names, Brian O'Driscoll, Paul O'Connell, Alan Wynne-Jones, why are they the best in their sports? Because they work their fucking tail off. And I remember going into RTE, I was in that doing breakfast, and his show doesn't come on till after 12, is it 1 o'clock, half one?
Mm-hmm.
And he would be in there at 7 o'clock reading every paper, listening to every bit of news, doing unbelievable work, like grafting from that time in the morning until he went on air. And then he'd open up the live line and he'd ask like the most obvious question. You know what I mean? As if he doesn't know. And I was there like, incredible, man. That this guy... there's a reason he's at the top of his game for so long, because he works harder than everyone else.
We had George Hamilton on, the famous commentator, Irish commentator as well, who ahead of that penalty, remember Packy Bonner's save?
Against Bonner. The nation holds its breath.
A nation holds its breath. I mean, like, it just captured the moment so well. But he was saying how he started off with BBC and he trained under the likes of the Bill McLarens and the Cliff Morgan as well, and taught him that actually in commentating, and it is exactly like what you just said about the hard work. He said, I think it was Bill McLaren he went to and questioned about the books and books of research and stuff that he'd done ahead of the international. He's like, what have you got all this for? He said, 95% of this book won't be used, but I don't know what 5% will be used, and that's why I have to do the rest of it. So yeah, to get to the very top, you got to do the hard work, and that's actually what I suppose this Lions squad is really celebrating today, because the players that made the cut today are the ones that bust their bloody ass. They perform on the biggest level, and to be honest with you, with the squad that Andy Farrell's named, there's no real shock surprises. It's a strong bloody squad that's going down to Australia.
Absolutely. Look, honestly, congratulations to them all, Tommy, because it's mad. With a bit of being out the other side, you realise the honour. They're in the moment now, man. They're fighting the fires right now. But it is in time that you'll realise, you know what I mean, what you've done is actually quite remarkable. So for those lads, they're on it at the moment, but you'd be delighted for their families and for everyone around them. And look, of course we're going to be biased, but to have the most amount of Irish lines ever, incredible. Well done, lads. Fucking
and 15 Irish players, 13 English, 8 Scots, 2 Welsh. And just to see the reaction, I'm not too sure if you've seen on social media the likes of the Northampton players, the likes of Finn Smith and Pollock, who got picked, and how the celebration, the team camaraderie that they have there as well. And even the likes of Thomas Williams, the Welsh scrum half, 2 Welsh players, he was one of them. And he talked about shedding a tear. You know, you forget how much this means to those players. Like, they go and represent their country, which is, you would think for them, the ultimate. But the Lions is just that something a little bit special that you don't know until you get there and until you get your name is announced. So it really does have something special for players.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the opportunity to elevate yourself beyond, isn't it, really, in terms of your rugby career? Because you go into that environment, man. You stick on that, even the training jersey, it all comes up. You know what I mean? There is... You know what I mean? There's no errors, there's no mistakes, there's no hiding place. It is the ultimate honour and requires you to go beyond, to push your talent to where it's never been before. But I did, still and all, I did feel for a few people. I know when Andy was, before he announced Marrow as skipper, when he was chatting, I was there, oh my God, he's chatting about Owen Farrell here. because everything he said is identifiable with Owen Farrell, isn't it? Wow. You know what I mean? A leader of men, you know, guys that always cares about everyone. I was there, wow, we could ease. And then you think of guys that missed out, you know, the Robbie Henshaws was thereabouts, you know what I mean? And
well, listen, we'll go through a couple of the players that missed out. I think the big one, though, has to be Caelan Doris, the guy who was tipped to be captain, got injured. Looks like he picked up a shoulder injury at the weekend against Northampton for Leinster. I mean, congratulations to Maro Itoje. I think a lot of people tipped Maro, particularly after his performances in the Six Nations and the way he's playing and his leadership as well. But even just for Caelan Doris looks like he's going to miss out on, unless he pulls out an Alan Jones recovery like he did on the last tour, which was incredible, and get flown down. But just to miss out on that initial selection, I mean, you're just heartbroken for the poor fella.
God love him. God love him, because you know what an incredible talent. But that shows the cruelty of it as well, Tommy, isn't it? We've had whatever about teammates, unbelievable friends, the likes of Jerry Flannery and the likes of Tomás O'Leary, that the exact same thing has happened to. And the sad thing to say is, out of that squad announced today, maybe not everyone will make it on the plane, you know, with the amount of competitive rugby that has to be played. So, but I do feel for Doris, because look, I think he's a generational player. I've said it before. He's the closest thing we've ever produced to a Kieran Reid. You know what I mean? We've had brilliant number 8s over the time, but he's got a bit of it all. He's an incredible player. And I know we'll chat about the Northampton match, but maybe I'm wrong and I don't have medical training, but I saw him take a dunt before scoring that try, and I have no doubt in my head that, you know what I mean, he's carrying a knock, but he still finds a way to keep going and score that try. You know, they're just special fellas that you'll feel for, because that's a scar forever, isn't it, to lose out in a big one like that? So
you're devastated for the poor fella. Absolute heart goes out to it. It does save us a little bit, save face a little bit, because of course we did tip him to be captain all those many months ago, and because he's picked up the injury, because he was definitely going to be captain, no doubt about it.
Do you know what? Maro for captain, man, it suits him, doesn't it?
What about the earring?
The earring, beautiful. I love everything about it, man. I know there was a bit of patchy business.
No, you don't. If you were a player, what would you be thinking?
No, do you know what? I learned.
You're old school, man.
I am
You're
old
traditionalist.
School. But do you know what helped me with that? Zeebs, man. Zeebs, and constantly
you can't be with him. Jeez,
no, but I tried to kind of like bust his balls and try to get, and then I realised, man, that's the way he is, and it's beautiful, you know what I mean? And if I actually roll with it, and there's a better way to kind of get more, and that's to actually, you know, nearly pump his wheels and
big time. And I thought, to be fair, Maro came across so well. He's such an eloquent speaker as well, real humble, kind of a quiet guy, not the sort of captain who you would see cursing and swearing. But I think he's a player that absolutely that squad are going to get behind, and you could just see the big grin in his face, how much that meant to him. You know, this will be his third Lions tour, but to walk on there, named as captain, carrying Bill, the teddy bear.
Bill looks like Bill needs a bit of work, doesn't he? He looks like he's had 4 years on the lash. His tail was all over the place. Who's the youngest Lion? We need to find that out.
Pollock must be.
Pollock, you're on him. You need to have a chat with Bill and put him on the straight and narrow straight away.
What about listen, it was a wonderful selection, whatever else. I thought they were never going to get to it.
Oh my God.
I mean, Ugo, come on, mate, wrap it up here, let's get on.
I know what you are. You're jealous that Ugo's got that gig. You're there like, this is meant to be the Irish tour. I present morning TV every morning. This is my go. It's the Irish time. I know you're trying to slag the whole production of it.
Does that count as an extra English name, an extra Scot there with Lee McKenzie as well? Devastated, the two of them.
But you're right, get to it, lads. Was it Nelly and the painting? You know what I mean? Yeah. We're going to cross back over to Nelly because he wrote down Maro's name. And they're like, name the feckin' squad, lads, will
you? Are you having a laugh? He's just got the stencil out and written his name. I mean... Yeah, I don't think we went back to him again on the live feed.
But you know what's happening there, right? And fair enough, there has to be a sponsor mention. But it's all right to say, listen, we wouldn't mind saying thanks a million to Holden, because it wouldn't happen without him. Like,
exactly.
Put
their name up on the background here. Fair play to you, lads.
Even,
it's a wonderful mural. No, listen, I suppose they kind of have to do this, don't they? Like, they did charge people 50 quid in to go and watch it.
Yeah. Do you know what I gotta go giggle out as well? And look, you're great mates with him. My respect for him is through the roof. But there was a bit of an awkward moment with Alan Wynne, wasn't there, when Maro came up and there was no seat for Alan Wynne? So they were like, "Here's your new captain. Thank you very much, Alan Wynne. We need that chair."
But Al just stood there like there's 3 chairs, and he looked at Andy Farrell, he looked at Ian Evans. Well, you're the chairman, you're the head coach. I mean, it's obviously not going to... I mean, imagine Maro told you when they had to sit in between Lee and Ugo.
Brilliant.
Just standing on stage.
It was like that Homer Simpson moment where you're just hoping that like the stage would just take Alan Wynne out of there. Or he should have been a hologram, man. They should have stuck with the COVID one for Alan Wynne, that he was a hologram and they could just get rid of him when they needed to.
Beamed him him out again then as well.
Slag him over that, will you? Get into him.
And what about that Lions captain's dinner then as well? How did they keep that all quiet?
I know. Yeah. But
all the previous captains all met up for dinner last night and got announced tomorrow, Toja, before anyone else.
But do you know what? Like, because there was leaks, wasn't there? Everyone was chatting. I was just looking at social media and everyone saying Maro's going to be named the captain. Sure, of course that's going to happen.
Well, you see, because I was saying this to you during the week, I thought the whole Doris chat was a way to kind of slide him over to London to meet a surgeon, and people see him in the airport and don't think anything of it. So I'm actually a little bit gutted that isn't the case now for him. But yeah, I think once there was talk of this injury and Jacques Nienaber was talking about it doesn't look good, I think he was the obvious choice.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And do you know what? We're going back over it. He is an alpha male, isn't he? Like, you can follow that. Look, personally, you're going to say I'm biased, but I like second row captains, and you look at the most successful ones, especially in Lions tours, Willie John McBride, you know what I mean, Martin Johnson. You're in the mix there, aren't you? You know, like...
The first English captain since Martin Johnson. When was that? Was he 2001?
Was that Australia
would that have been?
Tour, wasn't it? Yeah.
Wow, it's going back a long time, isn't it? Incredible to think, actually, you've had so many Irish and Welsh in that too. So I think, listen, be brilliant. And I think they kind of needed... I mean, the fact that there's 15 Irish players again, a very, very heavy Irish backroom staff and coaching setup as well. Like, I do fear that the media, particularly over in England and stuff, might be sharpening their pencils. I think they needed Maro Itoje there to be captain to just give them that bit of an edge.
Agreed. And look, he's an 80-minute man. He will, honestly, that guy will go off on his shield. He will empty every bit of him out there. And it's so easy, isn't it, to follow him when you see that. So, yeah. And look, I'd say he could be inspirational too in terms of... I like that side of him. You know, the way he seemed like a bit of crack there. Whereas, like, I've played against him, man. That guy he would dance on you. You know what I mean?
Horrible.
I love that. I love that. Yes.
Let's talk about some of the players that are in. Gary Ringrose made it. Delighted for him. Mac Hansen as well as number. I named him my back three last week. A lot of people didn't go for him in their predicted squads, but even his little cameo in a chat to him, we was out about to jump into the sea. You can see why he's been invited. He's a character. He'll bring a bit of light to the tour. And even what Andy Farrell was saying, I think it's 10 matches in 6 weeks. You need players to back it up, but you also need people to kind of keep the morale up. And I think he's a perfect man for that.
Agreed. Yeah, and you're right. Like, you need guys that play on Tuesday and that they might have to sub, and then all of a sudden someone falls going down the stairs and they're in. So yeah,
I'm taking this jumper off, man. I'm
brilliant. Good on you. Look at that. But yeah,
right,
look, delighted for Mac, delighted for everyone. I was delighted for James Ryan personally. I thought with being injured that James mightn't make it, and both. I know we might chat about Saturday, but I'll never forget. Like, Steve Abood said to me one time that sometimes your value can go up with you not being involved, and I think Saturday showed that with James Ryan a little bit. That what he adds, and I know we might look at his own performance, but what you allow others to do, especially in that position. Like second row, honestly, if you have someone that loses themselves to the work, it frees up more for someone else. And
you need a few, like that's what they need, a few enforcers, don't they?
Yeah,
like James
absolutely.
Ryan is an enforcer. You got it. Chesham, he would be as well, wouldn't he? Be a big lump too. Joe McCarthy, because they're going to be going, like Australia have some big brutes, particularly up front. I mean, you think of Skelton, you think a couple of the other players that they have. So physically, they're going to, and even if you look at some of the midweek matches, the Pacifica one up against the combined Australia-New Zealand one, like those teams are going to be trying to rough them up. So, I'm delighted to see the light. There's actually quite a few players injured, though. Tuipulotu, the Scottish centre, is out injured at the minute. Hugh Jones is injured at the minute. Blair Kinghorn, the fullback, is injured at the minute. So there's a lot of guys who've kind of...
but you know the way, Tommy, you'll be like...
Keep injured?
You were like, I'm perfect.
Did you ever think that, right, towards the end of the season, you'd been called, you got the nod... Was it in the back of your mind, I need to keep myself fit here?
I went the other way with a little bit, because I do remember that. Like when a squad got named, a few lads started pulling a little bit, and I remember asking, could I play against the Ospreys away? And it was pretty much a dead rubber for both of us, but I knew I needed game time. I knew if I was to try to get on the tour, like playing suited me. I perform better in matches the more I can tog out on Saturdays. So I looked to play, but looking at Caelan there and just the way rugby has gone, and we've spoke about it there, that not everyone might make it. You'd worry now, wouldn't you?
You would. And listen, there will be players who will get injured, and there's going to be players called up as well. Two fellas who missed out who'll be devastated. Robbie Henshaw misses out. Obviously, Bundyaki, Gary Ringrose went. Sam Prendergast is another one who I would say the weekend's result went against him. And as you say, a guy who needs to play all the time. I was looking back at this, Donncha, right? And we'll go into this Leinster defeat to Northampton here, because he's a young guy. He's 21, 22 years of age. He didn't get to play that much rugby. So obviously at the Northampton match of the weekend, he didn't play the weekend before that against the Scarlets. He only played 20 minutes the weekend before that, coming off the bench against Ulster. For a 10, you want to be getting game time. You want to be feeling comfortable. And I think, and even before, obviously they played so well against... was it Harlequins and against Glasgow? Those two matches they were fantastic against. But he didn't play the 2 weekends before that. Gibson Park, the same. I wonder, looking back at that, everybody's talking about the Geordie Barrett decision. Should they've gone for the posts? I actually think, and it's actually, if you watch Northampton's social media as well, it's a really good clip of them behind the scenes. And they talk about, they're not like us. They don't have the connection that we have. They don't know each other as well as we have on the pitch. And I think this is a problem that Leinster have done year and year, and I don't seem to have learned from it. Not picking the same team before these big matches and giving them consistency, giving them opportunities to play alongside each other, and they just looked off the pace at the weekend. And I think that is a big problem that they've had again, and they're going to be kicking themselves over it.
Yeah, can't add any more to it. You're 100% spot on. I said this on RT. I was doing the punditry for RT when they lost to the Bulls, and I said they got it wrong. You come near the end of the season, you want to be battle hardened. And that's what Northampton were. I listened to Phil Dowson chatting, and Dowse was saying that what they knew coming into this block is that they needed consistency of performance, and to get that they needed consistency of selection. So they went full balls out against Bristol. Every match they went out. They only started probably focusing. I know everyone's there, like it's a masterclass by them in coaching. But honestly, the coaches probably were planning it for 2 weeks, but the players are only thinking about it from Monday on. And I just thought it gets skimmed over the whole time, but the definition of madness is doing the exact same thing and expecting a different outcome. And you're right, putting it down to the kicking at goal or the Barrett decision. And I love I love when our teammates speak up. I heard Drico saying that's on the players, and I wouldn't take it away from him because that's him. You know what I mean? Like, Drico's on the pitch there, he makes it fucking happen.
Yeah.
But I do think, like, I look at it there, I think you need your coach to have you sharp. You need you ready. Can I give you an example? I was thinking about this the other day after it. But I do remember, I know that it's not to the same scale, but I remember we were playing in either a Celtic Cup or something like that, semi-final. But I remember Mike Mullins, he was a centre with Munster. He got dropped, right? And the way it was done, Declan told him before the meeting. And he went fucking bananas. He went crazy. And it got to the point where Decky couldn't name the centres because Mikey wasn't he wasn't taking the decision. He was there,
right.
You are joking me. You're not starting me. And it wasn't good for the team. And I'm not saying it's a good way to act. And thankfully, environments aren't that selfish anymore. But it left this unbelievably spiky moment around the squad that Mikey wasn't able to. It was like,
well, you would have to think Bowden or Geordie Barrett would have been thinking the same.
100%.
I was like a standout performance in those knockout matches, particularly against Glasgow. He was out of this world, by hands down the best player for Leinster in those games. And then to not play against Ulster, to not play against Scarlets, and then to be on the bench for Northampton, the next the semi-final of the European Cup. It beggars belief.
It's crazy.
And I know
man.
they have plans, and I know they wanted to have an impact, but they were going into that game as favourites. You want to start, quiet the opposition down early doors, and then bring on the recruit. If you brought a Henshaw, you brought a Jamie Osborne, they're going to do a fantastic job. Even to not bring him on at half time, you're 2 tries down. Why are you waiting to 50 odd minutes?
Yeah.
Get him on. You've made a bit of a mistake with selection. Get him on the pitch quick and get this turned around. I just don't get it, but I do not understand. Leinster at the stage now, and I know they're unbelievable that they just can come in and get to that level straight away, and they just didn't work from the weekend. But I just think, as you said, and I listened to Dowson, the Northampton director of rugby, on that. It was on BBC's rugby podcast, and I thought it was a really, really good interview.
Right.
And consistency of selection, consistency of performance. And I just think knockout stages of these competitions, just play me. They have the squad that if they pick up a few injuries, there's the next man in. Andy Farrell picks the best team, whether they like it or not. You don't deserve, you only get picked if you deserve it. I just.
But you know what, Tommy?
I'd be so frustrated if I was a Leinster supporter. I'd be so frustrated, because I listened to Jacques Nienaber saying, "Well, this is just something the supporters are going to have to take." And yes, we made the wrong decision, but I mean,
and we won the second half.
Oh, he said we won the second half. I just would imagine Leinster supporters are,
but not even Leinster
supporters. I was
was
annoyed.
Well, you should be annoyed because, I was listening to Gordon Darcy. Darcy was chatting on the Irish Times podcast, and he was saying that one of the other provinces is taking a lot of joy in this, and that's not the fucking truth. Genuinely, I'm a Munster man. I don't shout for Leinster, but they're an Irish team and I want them to do well. Plus, I know that it is important, the way rugby has gone, that money, if they win, it's good for all boats, and if the standard is here, it's great for everyone. But they're being prioritised, you know what I mean, in terms of funding, and then they're not getting it done. This idea that all of us are waiting for them to fall over and laugh at them is, you know what I mean, is wrong.
And it tarnishes Irish rugby in general as well. It paints everybody in Ireland as they can't get it done.
You mentioned the supporters. I'll be honest with you, man. I'd be furious if I was the players, because I remember Declan Kidney used to say a thing to us when it came to selection. He was there. This team could pick itself. I could put all 30V in that room and tell you come out with your jerseys. And he's there. Maybe there's 2 lads fighting in the corner, but that's about it. And I'm telling you there, right? If you let those Leinster lads walk into the dressing room, I'd say Robbie hands the jersey over to Barrett every fucking time.
I loved that interview as well, Dowson as well, talking about how back a couple of weeks ago they tried to build a mantra around I think it's the Boston Red Sox, and he took them all to the cinema to watch this documentary from back the 90s, where the Boston Red Sox were 3 down in the World Series and nobody gave them a chance, and he was kind of painting it, this is where we are. Nobody's given us a chance in this game. I think Leinster were tipped to win by 30 points.
30 points in a semi-final, man.
And and Northampton were missing 6 of their starting team.
Yeah.
But they just
they lost the likes of Courtney Laws. You know what I mean? Their squad was depleted more. When he mentions that, they went out the following week and they got hammered by Leicester, remember?
Yeah. Okay. So it didn't work.
Well, no, he's saying they got the bunks of it.
Playing the long game.
I must say, we'll get him on one day. What a brilliant fellow. I was lucky enough to play with him in Worcester, and like that, he was always doing presentations. But Dowse's superpower is his ability to bring everyone else on around him. He has this magical ability to nearly help you find your wings, man. And that's why I look at that squad and I always feel it. You mimic your coach, and they have started to mimic their coach as well. Sam Vesti, like, I know everyone chatting kind of Lions bolter and stuff like that, but like, geez, well done on having the game plan absolutely nailed down. And like, he was our coach in Worcester, our backs coach, and I remember he would come to me with stuff. He was there, listen, you know, when you get this line out in the, are you going to try to maul that? And I was there, it depends how we're going.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, and I was there, yeah, we are. And he said, okay, I'll take 3 meters back, because that's how we're much. But he was planning his back move with us conceding 3 meters backwards from trying to maul it, if you know what I mean. He was just so forward thinking, and I know Pollock's try and everyone would chat about it, but I can see him pointing that out in a review to Pollock. I could see Vesti sitting down saying, listen, on the transition, if you bust your tail to get back there early enough, you're going to blindside, because that is slow to fill. You know what I mean?
Well, Finn Smith went through on something similar as well for their first try. I mean, it's incredible to see a team that are 7th in the English Premiership to go and do that performance, and then, of course, get rewarded with 4 players named in the Lions squad as well. One thing we questioned last week a lot was actually, is rugby fun anymore? And that was the one big thing that he pulled out, is that he said rugby is so boring. You know, it's week on week. It's a crazy game. It's so difficult on the body. So the one thing they try to do is to make it fun. And he said Europe is always the best opportunity to do that, particularly when you're away from home. You're playing in a new stadium, a new city you've never been before. You go out there, and because the matches are normally quite late to kick off, we'll stay over. And you know what? If we win, if you pull in a big performance, we'll go for a few beers. And they look like they just have, behind the scenes, off the pitch, they look like they have a great group together. So
I know everyone's chatting about it, but I'd say you mimic your leaders. Look at the coach and box, man. When they scored a point, they all celebrated. They were like basically saying, "Fucking, at least we did better than Harlequins." You know what I mean? They were having a laugh, and it's easy to follow that when you see it. But you'd worry when you look in contrast to the Leinster box in terms of, like, if we're going to question the decision making, like, who challenges? Like, I know Dowse. I know that someone like Sam Vesti could kind of go to him. I don't think that's the right call. You know what I mean?
But remember, like, with Jack Nienaber in South Africa, I mean, they had Razzie running the water. So he's passing on messages to the kickers and whatever else. Remember, they had the red light, green light as well up in the coach's box, that they turn on the lights to tell the players what to do.
Course,
and then you saw Jack Conan, he was holding his hand up to his ear because he didn't know what they wanted them to do in those closing minutes of the game. And you know what, Donncha, like, the pressure is on. You can feel that with Leo. I thought he spoke really well after the match. You could see how gutted he was, but that's one European star they've had in 10 years. Is that really good enough?
Well, the honest truth, like, I've been disappointed with I think there's this Lions rug that the Leinster performance is just going to get swept under. You know what I mean? I look at any of the other provinces or any other team. If this had been allowed, there would be absolutely people going crazy. And I saw ex-players, ex-Leinster players kind of hiding behind the fact that you can say, well done to Northampton. You know what I mean? Which you can. 100% they brought it. But we know what Northampton are. Northampton are 7th in the Prem. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's them. You know what I mean? And like, even the bookies had 33 on to absolutely thump them. You've come up short. So there has to be accountability, and there also has to be accountability to the fact that the RFU are running that. Like, the majority of that funds is being funded by the RFU, and what are we teaching those lads? To come up short in knockout rugby. So there, if you chat about like, the business world, KPIs or whatever the fuck it is, you know what I mean? You're not getting it done. So do we find another way when it comes to those knockout stages with that Leinster team? If that's the model we're following of, you know what I mean, looking after Leinster, the West, do we bring Andy Farrell in for the last 3 games?
Well, no, because they have Jacques Nienaber. I mean, they've brought in Jacques Nienaber, the best coach in the world, or one
everything.
of them.
They have
everything. Snyman, they have Barrett, they have Slimani, they have world-class Irish players there as well, 12 of which who've been picked for the Lions. I mean, they have it all there, but they just... And, like, do you know what, though? The other thing made me think about is about McIlroy in the golf. And the one thing that McIlroy said at the end of it, he said it would be easy to stop and be easy to step away from it, but he tells his daughter Poppy all the time just to never give up, keep on fighting for it, and it'll break for you eventually. So for this Leinster team, it will. Like, they are hands down the best team in Europe. There's no doubt about it.
No. Can I stop you? You cannot say that anymore. We have to stop this. And the Irish media
are, Donncha.
No, they're Tommy, they're not, man. They're not. And this is what
you were talking before this game that whether anyone was even going to get a point against them.
Yeah, but that's because I saw
was a fair point.
Yeah,
you know?
But the fact is, Tommy, I thought with their money spending and bringing in 3 of the greatest players of all time, they had sorted that. But then, like, they neglected it yet again. You nailed the biggest error they made. They didn't battle harden their team. You know what I mean? They showed an arrogance in selection and having one of the best players in Europe on the bench. You know what I mean? Like Andrew Porter.
And sending a completely different team to Scarlets.
Yeah.
And I just think losing to that Scarlets game just gives that bit of... chips away that layer of invincibility, even though none of those players really played in the next week. I just think, it just sets the wrong tone going into a European Cup semi-final week.
But I totally agree. It's for me, it's fright though. Like the only one I see calling it out for what it absolutely is Pat Spillane, man. Pat Spillane from GA World, and they're like, can we? But you know what I mean? The blue media aren't going to have any of that. You know what I mean? They're there with their cheerleaders and they're all, you know what I mean?
Well, he had to go out to actually comparing Leinster to Mayo in terms of their chokers. They can't get the job done, get to the semi-finals, get to the finals. And yes, his point was, you can't, like Mayo, he says, leave it all out on the pitch. They have fought against Dublin, and they've been so close and given absolutely everything. But this is a bunch of amateur players who are playing an All-Ireland final, who are having to go home to work the following Monday, who are having to get time off work to go and train to get to an All-Ireland final. You can't be calling a bunch of Leinster professional players who are still going to be going off and going on the Lions, playing the Six Nations, getting bigger and bigger contracts. He just felt that is a disgrace to be trying to compare these two teams, Leinster and Mayo. And listen, I thought he had a fair point. Now, I think that a lot of the media have been fairly critical of Leinster. I don't think that it's been that easy on them. No, I think it's really hurt.
I don't think it is. I don't think they're basically, honestly, man, it's a veneer. They're not digging in like they would if it was someone else. They're not digging in as they would if it was one of the other provinces. Like, it is, honestly, it is the biggest own goal of all time. It genuinely is. Tommy, look at their run to the last few finals, man. Yeah. They haven't left Dublin. And
they had the right side of the draw as well, none of the French teams.
Yeah, but do you know what it shows, Tommy? And I hate saying this, right? But Northampton showed the beauty that still exists in rugby, that you don't have to buy it. That you can still win it. You can still win it with a group of lads that give a shit about each other.
Yeah.
And like
and cover each other back and enjoy it. Yeah,
like
they
honestly,
just gave everything.
They're like a beacon of hope that in the way rugby is going, that you know what I mean. You wave your checkbook around the place, and everyone else helps facilitate you in doing that. That someone can still go there and just care and show they care. Like, look at our finals, man. You know what I mean? Leon, Bath, Leinster, like to all the bought, man. You know what I mean? Bordeaux, bought. Like, where were Bordeaux? What's the history there? Leon, another big city. You know what I mean? So
Leon, where's Leon come from?
Because it's a massive city, man, and that's
the
what
amount
you
of
can
money
do
that they're
now.
spending.
Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? But good on Northampton, man, for just saying we develop our own. We care about each other more than anyone else, and we can still get it done. You know.
And they were battle hardened. And they were up for it. They were underdogs, and they took it to them. So, listen, congratulations.
To go back to Dricko's point, though, I do think a few of them need to be knocking on the door and genuinely saying, I want to play against the Scarlets. And I know you're going to tell me my player welfare, but I don't give a shit. Like,
I agree.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, who's questioning? Who's genuinely kind of going, like, because, man, I remember when because that was us, Tommy. Like, we were in the exact same position as them. We were absolute chokers. Now, we didn't have the financial backing they have. We didn't have the run at home games they had. We didn't have well, that's wrong to say in terms of the comparables to schools, because they've always had that. But I just think there comes a point where, you know, someone needs to kind of go, fucking bullshit. It's absolutely shocking.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people are saying that. I think a lot of people just were shocked by the result. Anyway, listen, they'll be obviously concentrating on the URC. They're
There's
top of the
another
URC.
one. Who, like, genuinely, Porter said it. Give us a break. You know what I mean? Like,
he said he doesn't really care about URC, didn't he?
But they don't. You know what I mean? They've shot the bed, man. You know what I mean? Like, they really have. So, like, if this is what I'm worried. Straight away, the deflect goes on. If Leinster can win the URC, can't be glossed over, man. It's not good enough. Like, it's not. You bought a team. Like, they should actually apologise to Barrett, man. It's really embarrassing to bring him over for 6 months, to pay him the type of money, and then for the main one, man, to leave him
on the bench. I know.
I'm actually embarrassed thinking about it.
And he probably could have had the pick of any club. Like, he could have gone to a lot of clubs that were probably going to offer him more money, but that didn't have the chance of winning any silverware. And I'd say he's getting paid very well to go to Leinster, but I'd say he's gone there wanting to come back with a European medal. Like, what a success. What a bit of a sabbatical from New Zealand rugby for him. And yeah, to be put on the bench for the biggest game.
Yeah.
They'll rue that decision, because that's going to be one going back a long time. People are going to be questioning that one. Let's move on to this weekend. URC.
Do we start getting tetchy with each other? So the teams are in.
Munster, who are 9th in the league, Ulster, who are 12th in the league. Ulster, desperate, they need to win. Pretty much both teams.
We both need to win, man.
Need to win to get ourselves into the top 8 of the competition and to be in the knockout stages as well of this competition. I mean, Ulster are away from home against Munster tonight in Thomond Park. 7:35 kickoff.
Are you working it?
I'm feeling confident.
Are you feeling confident? Hold on. Can I just say a second, though? Could we make a truce here that we ring the lads and say leave it off? Because remember when we were chatting a few months ago and you said you wouldn't mind Ulster being in the Challenge Cup?
Yeah.
Can we just take that now and just say, listen, you know what I mean? Munster won 20-0. Tommy and Dunner shook hands on it. Ulster
I
in the
didn't
Challenge
realise
Cup.
it actually has quite a big impact financially.
Yeah.
So I would have been happy for Ulster to get knocked out in the European Cup stages. Remember, if they had got knocked out and not made the top 8, they would have gone into the Challenge Cup and had a genuine chance of going on to win a competition. Unfortunately, then they had to go and play against Bordeaux away and put up a hell of a fight, but just wasn't good enough that time. I think financially, I'm not too sure exactly the repercussions of it, but if you don't make the top 8, don't make it into Europe, I think it's pretty tough in the coffers. So there's an awful lot at stake. I mean, to think that one of the two, Munster or Ulster, is probably going to miss out on Europe next year. Looks like Connacht are going to miss out on it. So 2 make it into Europe, 2 don't. That's pretty damning, isn't it?
Oh, it's shocking. Like, we've been tough on Leinster, but we need to tell the absolute truth. Like,
the 3 provinces haven't achieved. I mean, that's probably actually a bigger story than Leinster.
100% is. It really is. Like, the fact that, like, when I looked at the season at the start of the year, I was kind of thinking, okay, the run in Ulster and Benetton at home, that's not a bad one, because you could dictate maybe home advantage, and then I'm not being harsh, but like you're at home and you get to send off players, so you get the emotional buy-in. Here we are, fucking scrapping to make Europe, both of us.
And we've been fairly, like, we both love Welsh rugby, but we've been critical of it as well this season. To think that Cardiff and Scarlets are both ahead of Munster, and the Ospreys as well are ahead of Ulster. So that's 3 Welsh clubs are ahead of Ulster at the minute. Yeah. Whenever we talk about, the chaos behind the scenes of these regions and Welsh rugby, I mean, it's really bad. And to have Benetton up there as well, obviously a number of the South African teams. But Irish rugby, you scrape away from that Leinster team, we ain't all so pretty. That's a big, big concern going forward. And certainly from David Humphrey's point of view, I'd say he's very, very concerned about where these 3 provinces are going to go.
Of course. And like, when you mentioned the money side of it, but third in the 6 Nations, and then, you know what I mean? Now, like, no prize money for Europe at all for the IRFU. Like, if we've only 1-2 teams in Europe, it's just not a good way. And it's not, like, I know I'm being really negative, but Europe is shit at the moment until it gets to the last 16, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? We both agree on that. The last weekend was magic and saved it a little bit again, but the early
it was a hell of a game. Like, each week there's been a couple of brilliant games. Like the Northampton or the La Rochelle Munster game was fantastic.
Yeah, but I'm on about the early stuff where it's just not.
But rugby is in general, Donncha.
Yeah,
you could kind of say from the league, until there's a bit of meat on the bone, until it starts getting interesting, and because there's no consistency of matches, it's hard for everyone to buy into it. But that's why I said last week, I mean, this is the exciting part of the season. This is where things start to really matter.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, look, I'm going to be blinkered and think of Munster, but like, for us to be in this position is just not good enough. It genuinely isn't. You know what I mean? No. To be fighting it to make it into Europe isn't acceptable for a team like Munster. You chat about, and look, I know there's loads going on, but you have a responsibility when you run out to represent. And like, we you know what I mean, we'll want this to go as well as we can on the last push, but you've got to remember games like Zebra over there, Edinburgh and Cork. You know what I mean? The damage isn't done today, the damage is done non-stop. And if there is hope. Clayton Macmillan's on his way, you know what I mean, and you'd hope that he can address it. But if I'm some of those young players, I'm looking at the likes of Pollock going on. You know what I mean? Some of those boys were playing against him there with Irish 20s. They have to fucking realise, what am I at, man? You know what I mean? When am I going to jump? And sitting around for both provinces, man, in those positions is totally unacceptable.
Ulster have lost 9 matches this season, won 7, and Munster the same. Yeah. So. Like, with players within those squads as well. I mean, Munster obviously have Tyke Byrne, who's going on the Lions tour as well. But realistically, if you're saying Pollock, I mean, there's very few others there who'd be anywhere near putting their hands up. And Ulster the same,
I agree. And look, we've chatted about, and Richie's good for it, a bit of a rebuild with Ulster and involving an awful lot of youth and what Richie's seen before. I think the same for Clayton when he comes in. He has to look at the likes of incredible player for the Irish 20s this year, Michael Foyle. You know what I mean? A 6 there with Pete retiring. But I think what we need to do now is actually, I'm just talking about Munster, give youth a chance a little bit more than we've probably seen it over the last while. Be a little bit more ballsy. Evan O'Connell, you know what I mean?
This is it. I mean, like, looking at their starting team tomorrow, you've Niall Scannell around a long time, Stephen Archer, John Klein, Peter O'Mahony. I mean, that's kind of in the pack, but that's a lot of experience there. You have John Ryan on the bench, Conor Murray as well. Like, that's a huge amount of caps there, a lot of experience. But yeah, if Clayton McMillan's coming in next year, is it time to start giving a lot more younger guys an opportunity there?
Yeah, like I'm going back to this one, but I went down to that match, England versus Ireland, and so Pollock. But I was impressed with Michael Foyle, man. And I'm looking at one today being mentioned in going on the Lions tour, and another fella that I haven't seen since those Six Nations games. Like I got my first cap for Munster at 19. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
19 years of age. Like either something's up that we're holding them up a little bit more. Something's got to give a little bit, you know. And
well, that's it. Yeah, I got my first cap with Ulster, I think 1920 as well. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know why they're holding a lot of these players back. Now, Ulster have given a lot of young guys opportunities this year, and a lot of them really stepped up. The likes of McNabney, number 8, Izuchuku as well. Scott Wilson. I actually do think the future is quite bright for a lot of these Ulster players if they can just keep them fit. Balakoon is a player I'm really excited to see tomorrow as well, back fit. I mean, he is a player who I genuinely think if they can keep him fit, he's up there with Biel Barry, the Penots in terms of the speed. It's
He's
just
can they get. Sure. What are you about Stockdale not playing 15? He back on the wing.
I think that's fair enough. Mike Lowry's been brilliant at 15.
He is. Yeah,
I think it's dangerous. A strong back three. Even from an Irish point or from an Ulster point of view, Doak and Jack Murphy, 2 very young 9 and 10s, still finding their way in the game. But I think Stockdale, McCluskey, Postlethwaite, Balakoon and Lowry's a hell of a backline. So it's going to be a cracker. Yeah, Munster though are -8, so they're 8-point favourites going into this one.
Are we?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know that matters for nothing, especially against Sheehan to Thomond Park. If anyone know how to come and crack that code, you know.
I heard Ulster are watching a documentary at the minute about the Red Sox.
I hope they are, because that thing, we'll chat to Dose, but that takes about 3 weeks to knock in.
Very good. Here, listen, we'll finish up. Can you remember when you got the Lions squad, when you got the announcement? Do you remember what you did for those players, you know, for the guys who are in Northampton to get that such great news? And they're obviously going to go home and see their family. I know Hugh Jones kind of said that, and they were taking the piss out of him a little bit, going, you're not going to be in the social committee. But, like, you're not going to be going out partying. Like, this is a special moment where you remember it with the people who made the commitments and the sacrifices to get you to that stage. And I think that's what a load of those players are want to celebrate with.
Yeah, what did you do?
I was at the Ospreys, so I went back to my bachelor pad.
and my own. Got a pizza and watched Breaking Bad.
I think I went to Nando's on Wine Street and maybe went for a few pints with a few of the Ospreys lads.
Oh, wow, amazing.
I used to have this flat, and when I moved to Swansea over there, it was top floor penthouse apartment, Donncha, right? You had to press the lift went right up. It was the only apartment on that floor, so the lift opened up into my flat. I thought it was the dog's bollocks.
Of course you were.
But it was already decked out for me, and they used to call it the porno sofa. It was like this white leather semicircle sofa in the middle with these like black and red cushions and this like feather throw. Oh my God.
Did you get it on eBay off Hugh Heffernan or something?
Oh, it's straight from the Playboy. I mean, honestly, what were they thinking when they decked this? But I thought it was a man.
I always thought it Wine Street, man. You know the way you watch like Love Island and different kind of shows for people watching. There's no better place on earth.
So Wine Street is the main street in Swansea, and on a Friday night, and it used to be student night as well on a Wednesday, but Friday and Saturday they cordon off either end of it, and as we say, it's like Magaluf without the sunshine.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, it's literally all the bars, the whole way up and down. There's more fun out on the streets than there are actually in the bars and the clubs. I mean, I remember all the Irish lads used to come over, and we used to, on a Friday night, I'd take them and I'd pick them up in Cardiff Airport, and I'd have a few Peronis in the back of the car. They'd be drinking away. We'd get down to my flat, get changed, and then into Wine Street on the Friday night, and I'd take them for a bite to eat. I'd go into, right, this is Revolution, lads. Go into this bar until about 12 o'clock. And Play nightclub across the road here. It's £12 in, all you can drink.
Oh, wow.
What? 12? I mean, talk about a red rag in front of a bull to the Irish. 12. So they generally went home at the end of the weekend thinking that they were on a profit.
Yeah,
after that one.
It is an amazing place. Actually, we need to do an old tour to Wine Street, don't we? Well, not a great trip with the sober guy, but even I enjoy that place. Wild. Wild.
Exactly. It's just people watching. I mean, the shapes and sizes and all sorts of tans from the fellas. I mean, the straightened hair, the neon pink V-neck like it was the lads who were wearing the neon V-neck t-shirts down to their belly button.
Oh yeah, the style. So and then you've like a banana in pajamas as well, because there's loads of hens and stags. It's just, what a spot. What a spot.
So that was my memory of the Lions.
It's a regret for me, Tommy. I've been negative all show, so I'll keep it going. But I do remember we went out for a family dinner after it was named, and it was kind of in around that Leinster match. You know what I mean? It got named in around that. And normally I wouldn't break routine. You know me for kind of like having kind of shape on my week. But I remember I was there like, I got to celebrate this. But I remember after we lost to Leinster in Croke Park, it was the first thing that came into my... What did you do differently? What did you... And honestly,
you blamed the meal. Celebrating.
I blamed, going out and...
listen, you gotta celebrate the good days. Listen, there's enough bad days in rugby, and for those players, you think of the likes of Caelan Doris, you think of the likes of Jerry Flannery and Tomas O'Leary. When these opportunities come along, smell the roses, lads.
Yeah, enjoy every bit of it.
Delighted for everybody who's named.
And
I think it's a 38-man squad.
Yeah, to their friends and families and people around them, tell them well done, man. You know what I mean? I know you might think they're sick of hearing it, but it doesn't, man. To know that people are proud of you and care about you and it's really
special.
It is, because it's more than just you, isn't it? It's everyone that put time into it to get to that point.
The excitement builds now as well, doesn't it?
Oh,
the countdown begins. Can't wait.
Yes. Actually, do you know what I took from it? Ian Evans is going to be a bit of a character, isn't he? He has nailed rugby banter. Hasn't he? I'm there like, they're like living with the Lions. I'm there, just put a GoPro on him, man.
Do you know, that was another one I was going to ask. Do you reckon the Lions, Living with the Lions documentary, will it go Netflix, or do you reckon that they'll just put it on their own?
Well, if they put it on Netflix, everyone will fall asleep after the shite they put out in the Six Nations. Hopefully.
They know how to do it right, the Living with the Lions.
Oh, yeah,
it's different.
Yeah. Get them, man. Honestly, bring Jen Telford and just leave him in the corner with a GoPro on him.
That's what they're missing. A few Scots in there with a few inspirational speeches.
Wild. Brilliant.
This is your Everest, boys.
Isn't it? Very few get to give for Everest. I
love that documentary.
I love it, man. I swear, I watched it so much. It started kind of going skippy.
I'm going to watch it back on YouTube again. Just for the good old days. Our docs were shy. That one's a good one.
Our doc, I think I end up throwing a bit of water on you from a window because I'm trying to get ready for a midweek match, and here's fucking Gatlin's favourite pet knowing, I only have to get ready for test 1. And they're like, shut the fuck up, Tommy, you annoying Rala.
Lying beside the pool I was the whole time. Brilliant. Stuff. Right, Donncha, best of luck this weekend.
No,
best of luck tonight.
Let's not even
May
do it.
the best team win.
Let's not even do it. Go well, Tommy. I hope it goes our way.
Well, to Lions cap number 725 from cap 752, a special day. The squad is announced. 15 Irish named, a record, the most we've ever had. So it's amazing. A great day for Ireland. Look forward to the tour as well. Dunners, good crack. We'll catch you soon.
Yeah, mind yourself, Tommy.